should be able to see some side-by-side racing.
Board is sideways, and the great crowd of 50,000+ here at the Georgia Dome, ready for the first action of the evening. Checking it out to see who grabbed that hole shot. On the inside is Steve Lampson. He curves to the outside. It's actually Lammy who gets the hole shot. A good break for him. Heath Voss was just passed by Mike LaRocco. And this is Mike LaRocco's kind of track, David Bailey.
I've been feeling good things for Mike LaRocco this week, knowing that he loves this kind of soil. He's won here before, and look at him. He's off to a super start. He's really been working on his starts, and it's really showing now.
Mike LaRocco off to the best start of his career. 12 years in this business in 250 action. He wants to rebound after 2 non-podium events, a 4th and a 6th in the last 2 races. But out in front, it's surprisingly so, because number 24 on the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha, Steve Lampson, is riding very sore, very sore.
And here's what's tough, Art. You don't get to ride much all week, if any at all. Then you go out and get the hole shot, and you got all these great riders bearing down on you. We're going to find out.
Battle for third. Larry Ward tries to cut inside, gets by Dowd. Dowd coming back as they head toward the corner. Dowd 6 to the outside. Look who's cutting to the inside. Ezra Lusk, number 4.
Well, their battle almost let Lusk get by both of them. Looks like he's going to be able to get to the inside of Dowd there.
Boy,
not quite.
This is a great start to our qualifying heat. There's not a gap anywhere.
Wow, that was close. Lusk trying to turn back to the inside of Dowd. Actually makes the pass, but he missed his back tire about a 1/4 of an inch. That could have sent him down. So he's taking his chances to get to the front now.
Ward looks back, sees Ezra on the charge. Ezra tries to cut to the inside. Ward, a great spurt on that jump. And so it's Lampson still with LaRocco, Ward, Lusk, and Dowd.
Check out Lusk right there going to the inside before this long loop section.
LaRocco having trouble. Larry Ward makes the pass in a second place. Remember, only the top 4 of these front-running 5 riders have a chance to go to the main event.
There's way too many guys in there right now. There's 2 or 3 riders in this pack are going to get bumped to the semi. Nobody wants to come out here and ride more laps on this track. Plus, I don't know if you agree with me, Art, but it seems to be like one of the warmest venues we've had so far this season. And as tough as the track is, these guys are going to get tired.
We'll be right back and see if Steve Lampson can hold on to this lead. Steve Lampson continues to lead our opening qualifying heat. Larry Ward puts the challenge to him, goes to the inside. Larry Ward taking over the lead. Ward still looking over his shoulder.
Well, this would be a nice way for Ward to put Tampa behind him. He had a tough time down there getting over some of the obstacles. 1 triple, as a matter of fact, he never did. I know he's disappointed with that. This would be a nice way to just start off tonight.
Well, this track revs up a little bit like Seattle, which is his favorite, with 2 wins of his 3 career wins. Lampson goes down right in front of Mike LaRocco.
Well, he got a little bit crooked, had that front wheel turned to the left. Now LaRocco's stuck on the bike, gets it loose.
Oh, what a bad break for Mike LaRocco.
Look at LaRocco's handlebars. And watch right here, Lampson is going to veer to his left, right in the line of LaRocco. Boom, right into him. What happened with LaRocco when he hit him so hard it shoved his handlebars forward. Now the bars are sticking up.
And here's Mike LaRocco, still game. Raynard started 10th, has now moved up to 4th. So a big break for Team Suzuki's Robbie Raynard to Steve Lampson with a sheared off back.
And the seat. Seat's gone too. That really affected both the bikes of Lampson and LaRocco.
Boy, can you imagine what the mechanics are going to have to go through right now to get those ready for the semi-final round?
They don't have much time.
Meanwhile, our leader out in front, number 7 of Team Suzuki, is Larry Ward. Ward and Dowd going at it big time. Correction. Robbie Raynard and Dowd going at it for 4th place. It is Ward, Ezra Lusk, Robbie Raynard in 3rd, John Dowd in 4th, and Voss is quite a ways back in 5th.
This is the kind of track where Dowd would do well. He's got to like it because the soil is a little bit trickier. You don't have to be so precise like you did in Tampa, where if you just get a little bit off your line, you just get a ton of wheel spin. Here you can sort of muscle your way through, starts to get rutted up. He does well under those conditions.
With all the talent on the track today, David Bailey, you know, at the gate, at 20-rider gate, we've had 10 winners on the gate for all of our races, previous Supercross winners. With all that talent out there, Lady Luck plays a big part.
It does. You just see that right there for LaRocco. He wasn't really following. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He actually was picking a line to the left as they come through this section, and Lamson fell right into him.
That's Robbie Rayner, number 17. He's done very well in qualifying heats. In fact, he's won 2 qualifying heats this year. Has never had to go to the semifinals to qualify this entire season. However, he's had a tough time in the long races, the 20 lappers. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we've caught up with Steve Lamson. First off, how are those torn cartilage in your ribs?
Actually, didn't bother at all. I landed on my left side, so I'm okay.
Take us through quickly what happened.
Well, I just jumped into the hoops, jumped 3, and I jumped a little far into a rut, and it just kind of sent me off to the left. And then LaRocco goes right behind me when I went down, so he nailed me pretty hard.
So you okay otherwise?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll be back.
We'll see him in the semis.
And we'll see if his mechanic can get that job together again. Now closing the gap on Larry Ward is number 4, Ezra Lusk. 2 laps to go. In fact, the white flag is out right now as they go over the finish line jump.
What's exciting to me, Art, is this is a very difficult loop section that is right down the last straightaway to the finish, and that's where Lusk has been faster than Ward.
Ezra, good technique off the tabletop. Let's see if he can catch Larry Ward. A lapper is up in front of them right now. And that is Amaratio. He clears out of the way. Sportsmanship by Anthony. Look at Lusk. Like he was shot out of a cannon. Ward has the slight advantage. Ezra two-timing it. Ward back in front. Oh my goodness, what great racing.
That was beautiful by Ward to cut him off.
2 more turns before the checkered flag. Ezra Lusk to the inside. That long whoop section with a lapper in front. Ezra looks back. Ward. Ezra. Checkers. Ezra Lusk pleasing this Georgia crowd. Ready now for our second qualifying heat. Number 1, the guy with the defending champions plate, Jeremy McGrath. There was no practice on Friday because the track builders couldn't get into the building till late on Wednesday night, but that's just the way Jeremy McGrath wants it.
For me, I like when no one can practice. I like it better when it takes you 12 minutes to get the track down in the morning and then we race. That's what I like.
David Bailey, he doesn't like those guys seeing the track before because he's quick to analyze everything he can do.
Well, these guys are all getting so good at figuring out the racetrack now.
Let's go down to Marty quickly.
2 things. This is the shortest start on the series this year, but it's also the longest whoop section, and as we saw in heat race number 1, it will play a very big role. It's 190 feet long, guys. I gotta get out of here.
Good advice as we're off and running for our second qualifying heat of the evening. To the inside, number 14, Kevin Witham, and it's Ricky Carmichael, number 9, in second place on the Team Kawasaki machine. Ricky Carmichael looking very promising in the last main event in Tampa. Led for 11 laps. He's taking on Kevin Windham right now. This will be a good one.
Now you got Pichon moving into 3rd spot. So between those guys,
side by side, he flares out.
I can't count the amount of 125 titles these front 3 riders have. They all do great in this soil. And Kevin appears to be back on track. I don't think
I thought you could count that high, David Bailey. They both have 2.
Also Pichon in there, too.
That's right. And Pichon has 2 Eastern 125 Supercross titles. Ricky Carmichael with 1. And Ali Seymour takes a look as Windham took a stumble there.
It's all it takes, one little mistake. Look at how close these guys are. McGrath's starting to make his play.
Albertine, number 8, coming up on Windham. Greg Albertine, who's had a tough season of it so far, trying to show his goods right now. Trying to take over the lead and does so from Kevin Windham, last week's winner, Marty Reed.
Greg Albertine knows he has a little bit of pressure on him, guys. Talked to his team manager, Roger DeCoster. I said, anything changes on the bike? He says, no. All we got to do is get our riders to stay on him.
Well, he had a highlight film crash in qualifying last week, and for the second time in the 99 season was last in the main event. He really does want to prove something here tonight, and is doing so as Ricky Carmichael now challenging Windham for second. Backs off a little bit.
Look how slick McGrath is. Just waited for a tiny opening, just gas it in there to take Pichon. Now he's going after Carmichael.
McGrath has a bead on Carmichael. Look at this now. McGrath gets by Carmichael. Carmichael comes right back. It's Albertine, Wyndham, Carmichael, McGrath.
The track design last week just forced everybody to be ride so perfect. It was so technical. Here it's much more wide open, and the nature of the soil allows them to get in there and ride much more aggressive. They can take almost any line, as we've seen so far.
Well, the battle for the bubble here is only 4 can qualify to go to the main event after our qualifying heat is over. Is going to be right there on the bubble. Pashon is behind McGrath.
Right behind him, you got Ferry, and then a pretty big gap back to Emick. And then further back to Huffman, and then Button is still at the back of the pack. So that's going to be an action-packed semi.
Ricky trying to hold off Jeremy McGrath, and it's McGrath has the inside edge. They rub a little plastic. McGrath into third.
You know what I've noticed about McGrath? He doesn't worry so much about being the fastest rider through the whoops. He worries about the corner before and the corner after. When you put it all together, that makes him better.
Less than 5 laps to go in our second qualifying round. Albie still out in front. This would be the first heat win for Albie.
Jeremy's already bumped the back end of Wyndham. What an incredible race. If you're just tuning in, no, this isn't the main event. This is only a heat race.
Albertine, Wyndham. Wyndham pulling up right on the backside of Albie. McGrath in third. Carmichael in fourth. Pashon in fifth. And Ferry in sixth, riding on the edge.
Wyndham must be wondering, what the heck is Albie still doing out there ahead of me? Albie has not shown this kind of speed. He has got it dialed in right now.
Pedro Gonzalez stalled right under that finish line jump as everybody sails by him, and it's Albertine, Wyndham, McGrath, Carmichael putting on some speed to catch up with McGrath, who's in third.
Now Albie just gets an excellent drive out of that corner, sits down, compresses the suspension so he can time that section better. It's all the way over that big banana tabletop look. I don't know what they call it, but if you don't get that right, you can't get the rest of the straightaway right.
We'll be right back with the conclusion of our second qualifying heat after these words. Wyndham in good range of Albertine, number 8, here in our second qualifying heat.
Well, not only would this be a huge boost for Albertine, but I think it'd be equally as big of a boost if he can hold off, if Wyndham can hold off McGrath there, bumping him again, and Carmichael. Just to say to those guys, hey, last week I beat you, and I'm going to do it again. I already did one.
Well, that confidence factor is a big thing in this Supercross game. And Wyndham, who had the flu in Anaheim, in fact, he just barely got off the couch to go to the hospital a couple times the week before. And that was some excuse, a very good excuse, I would say, for his poor finish at Anaheim. But he came back with that great win last week. Let's check in with Marty.
Well, you talk about confidence, guys. They practice. Oh, what happened?
Kevin Wyndham almost went over.
Well, let's go on with the Kevin Wyndham story. Even though he's getting passed by Jeremy McGrath, they practiced this week out at Ezra Lusk track because this is his hometown. And he was running the track, 4th gear tap in the whoop section. He had him dialed. Somebody asked Ezra, have you ever done that? He said, this week I did.
Hey, shake him up. Shake him up, baby. Albertine first, McGrath second, Carmichael third, Pashon fourth. And Wyndham now is in 5th, trying to fight to get back his transfer.
And you can see Alley not happy about that. All it took was 2 mistakes by Wyndham right there in traffic to just lose all those positions. And if he doesn't pick it up now, he's going to the semi.
Ferry's in front of Wyndham. Number 20. There's Jeremy McGrath taking the turn as Albertine now has a good 3-second lead on Jeremy McGrath with Ricky Carmichael behind McGrath.
What it really comes down to, Art, is a lot of guys can run the pace out here, but it's the guy that makes the fewest mistakes, the best decisions. Wyndham was the guy last week that didn't make any mistakes at all. Tonight he made a couple already, and he is paying the price.
Less than 2 laps to go. Next time around, we'll see the white flag. Albertine takes the corner, the finish line jump. The white flag is waving. 1 more lap to go. So it's Albertine, McGrath, and Carmichael, Pashon, and Ferry fighting for that final spot. And Wyndham is trailing back with Jeff Emming.
You can see the rut starting to develop. I would keep my eyes on Carmichael. He will not leave McGrath alone. He's got a better line as they approach the triple on the far side.
Takes the wide route around and then goes through the short whoop section in front of the fans in the north section.
This is the first triple. As they make the right down here at the end, Jeremy usually turns tight, and it's a slower timing. See all the air time McGrath gets right there? Watch. Oh!
Oh! And that landing by Carmichael looked dangerously close to the landing that he was injured in San Diego.
It was the exact same thing that happened. He got in a rut. He was leaning too much to the inside. The bike washed out on the takeoff.
The checkers for Albertine. What a tremendous boost for Albie. McGrath in second. But just a small portion of the 60,183 fans here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, getting set for our 250 main event. Many of their favorite is right here. Ezra Lusk from Bainbridge, Georgia. A native Georgian has never won the 250 event here in Atlanta, Georgia, despite the great traditions. Here's Jeremy McGrath. And Jeremy, of course, leading the points coming into this race. He's been very smart this year. He only has one win, but he's been so consistent. McGrath leading by 8 points over Mike LaRocco in the point standings. Ezra Lusk is only 13 points back. Then we've got Mikel Pichon, Kevin Windham, and Larry Ward tied for that number 5 position in the points. David Bailey, this main event is shaping up to be a great one as we take a look now at Kevin Windham.
Well, I was impressed at looking at the lineup for the first round at Anaheim, and all these guys are still here, and Windham just showed up finally last weekend in Tampa and proven that he's got the speed. If you look at all the way on the inside for the lineup, you got Lusk. I like where he's lined up. All the way on the outside is Carmichael, who came out of the last chance qualifier. Same way Huffman got the whole shot and won his first race from the outside.
Life looked a lot better for number 14 when he woke up on Sunday morning after that first win of the season last week.
It was definitely a big change and a surprise, and man, it was just kind of like a dream. You know, I'd been doing so bad for so long, and had problem with the flu and some arm pump and all that, and then all of a sudden for it to come together and to win one like that. I mean, I read Cycle News and all that, and just looking back on the race, man, there wasn't really a doubt. You know, I mean, the best of the best was in front of me, and I came out on top, and I was really happy about my ride, and you know, it was a good week.
The riders are now headed toward the gate, getting set for our main event as we take a look at the starting grid. There you see the points leaders: John Dowd, Jimmy Button, Greg Albertine. Team Suzuki looked impressive, David Bailey.
Well, we haven't talked about him much. In fact, the last shot we had of him was dropping out of a race, doing a cartwheel in the semi in Tampa. And this week, all the Suzuki riders looked fantastic. All 3 of them were in the top 5 picked to the starting line. So these guys have got it shaped up. They get a great pick. They should have no excuses getting out of the gate here tonight.
Jeremy McGrath has won every other year here in Atlanta for 3 victories in this city.
He just rode past all the people standing behind the starting line, and one of those persons was Fonseca, not missing anything.
Yamaha's had a great history of firsts here in Atlanta. They won the first race at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in 1977, as we see Larry Ward go into the gate. They won the last race at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium with Bradshaw in '92, and they won the first race here in the Georgia Dome in '93 with Damon Bradshaw.
And there you get a good shot.
Chad Watts talking with Ricky Carmichael as the 30-second board is up. And we're almost set for round number 7 of Pace Supercross from Atlanta, Georgia. You see the fans on their feet. Ezra Lusk, Greg Albertine, Larry Ward, Jeremy McGrath, Robbie Raynard, Mikel Pichon, John Dowd, Tim Ferry, the leading privateer, Kevin Windham, Steve Lamson, Jeff Emig, Heath Foss, Jimmy Button on the 4-stroke, Nathan Ramsey, the 125 rider in the field, Pedro Gonzalez making the field, along with Mike LaRocco, Damon Huffman, Tortelli Carmichael, and Sebastian Waugh. And we're set to go from Atlanta, Georgia. Whoa, what a pack! Jeremy McGrath with a good outside start, but cutting to the inside. Jeremy McGrath comes out of the pack. Larry Ward in second place. Jimmy Button in third with John Dowd in fourth. And Jeff Emig is in fifth. His best start.
Might be able to call that 3rd or 4th here in a moment just because he had the inside.
McGrath is looking to take away with it as the flashbulbs just continue to pop with this great 60,000 plus crowd in Atlanta. Larry Ward in good position in second place. Jimmy Button in third, looking for his 3rd consecutive outstanding race. Emig in 4th, being challenged by Dowd. Albertine in 5th. Then come the Hondas. Lusk, Wyndham, and Mikel Pichon.
Carmichael, who had to go all the way to the last chance qualifier, is running 14th right now. So that outside pick, no good for him on the start.
Larry Ward's putting some pressure on the defending champion.
That's the only way I can see to beat McGrath. That's how Wyndham did it last week. He didn't stay any further apart from him than Ward is right now. And Jeremy still didn't make a mistake. It was just Wyndham forcing his way to the inside to make the pass.
Morocco in 14th. He's second in points. Jeremy wants to that points championship for his 6th Supercross championship more than anything, even more than a singular victory.
Well, here we are deep into the series, and Jeremy has ridden fantastic. Still hasn't been able to pull away. Only 8 points back to second. Usually by this time of the season, he's got a big lead. Right now, probably in the back of his mind is he's got the lead. He's got a lot of riders between himself and Larocco and there's Lusk.
Jeremy McGrath looking for his 2nd victory of the year. Here in the early going, we've got Larry Ward right behind him. Ward also with a victory. Who can forget that tremendous hole shot, leading 18 of the 20 laps up in Seattle for his 3rd career victory.
And he is just not letting Jeremy go. Look at him right here. Just
challenge to the outside, trying to swing by. He's always been good through the whoop sections.
Riding a much more aggressive race right now than I've seen him ride since his win in Seattle.
Ward looking to rebound after a difficult time in Tampa, where he took a 9th place, edging into that top 10.
These are similar conditions. Whoa, Jeremy coming up short.
Can Ward take advantage of it now as he tries to pull up even with Jeremy? Not quite bar to bar yet, as Jeremy's got the inside advantage on the left turn. Over the finish line jump. 17 laps to go. Lots of racing left from the Georgia Dome.
These are similar conditions to what we see in Seattle. Look at all these ruts. That's where Ward is apparently very comfortable. Still,
Ray McCullen.
He is still right there with Jeremy.
That's Ward's mechanic giving him the instruction as Ward battles Jeremy McGrath. Jeff Emig is coming up under the heels of Jimmy Button in 4th. We mentioned how well Emig has done here in Atlanta, Georgia before. And here is the battle for 3rd. Jimmy Button with that 4-stroke that hooks up on the slick red clay.
This time through, Jeremy clears the triple, no problem. Button is getting close. Probably from some of that pressure he's feeling from Emig. Emig bobbles just slightly.
Does this kind of remind you a little bit of Tampa, where we had 4 and 5 riders up in the lead pack? More great racing in Pace Supercross's 25th anniversary. Lusk is starting to pull up a little bit on Dowd. He is in 6th place. Dowd in 5th. Dowd just blazing by Emig.
I know it doesn't look like much, Art, but there is another bike link now between Larry Ward and McGrath. This is where you got to be patient. McGrath knows that it's not necessarily to pull away right away, but to just slowly put inches between himself and Larry Ward. If he can do that, Ward will start worrying about the riders behind him.
Is it like a mind game after a while, like a distance runner, where you can't shake the guy, but you work him as best you can?
Well, you know, they're both playing their own game. Ward's trying to keep the pressure on, force a mistake. And McGrath's trying to say, I can just inch away little by little until you can no longer see me.
The leading privateer, Tim Ferry, looks like he's out of the race. A tough break for Tim. But he's got top privateer money, I believe. We'll have to check and see the other privateers that made the field. Sebastian Wall, one of them.
See, that bike link has grown to 3 or 4 bike links now.
Jeremy McGrath starting to pull away. Just a little bit. Can Ward suck it up as we take a look at Emig and Lusk? Ezra Lusk is starting to move up now.
What's amazing is the rider number 9, Ricky Carmichael, who was in 14th the opening lap, is now just behind Lusk and Albertine. He's climbed his way all the way up to this battle this early in the race.
And so in recap now, we've got McGrath, Ward, Button, Dowd, Emig, Lusk, Albertine, and Ricky Carmichael, followed by Pichon and then Mike Larocco.
We always talk about how difficult it is to pass Jeff Emig. Lusk wants to win this race so bad. Last year he wanted to win it so bad he spent most of the main event on the ground just trying so hard.
He battled back for a 6th position after that incredible run last year. Had a 5th in '97, but was 20th in 1990. His worst performance here in front of friends and family.
Well, Lusk has already bumped Emig once. Now his mechanic says don't follow.
We will return to the Georgia Dome in time for the checkers to fly and lots more racing action when we return. Bunched up on the corner, David Bailey. Number 11, Emig. Number 4, Ezra Lusk. Lusk just looking for a place to pass. He's got Carmichael and Albertine right on his tail.
This is shaping up to be a great battle. And there's shaping up to be maybe a battle out front as Larry Ward has closed the gaps a little bit more on Jeremy. But look at this cluster of riders. Emig, Lusk, Carmichael, who started so far back. Albie, Pichon, and LaRocco at the tail end of these guys. LaRocco is the fastest finisher of all this group, except for maybe Lusk. Both those guys very strong in the final 5 laps.
You know, Larry Ward's still only a 2nd behind Jeremy McGrath.
I thought Jeremy was going to start to pull away, but whoa, Lusk getting a little bit of a swap right there. Then Emig does the same. That's where it's gotten so rutted.
Dangerous when you're riding on the edge trying to catch up, that's for sure. Jeremy McGrath comes around to the finish line. And going down is Jimmy Button. So Button, who was in 3rd.
There they all go. 6 guys. One mistake, he dropped that far back. Here comes more. Lamson getting a little squirrely through there. There goes Wyndham.
McGrath and Ward, there you see the interval between 1st and 2nd place. They've pulled away from the 3rd place rider, John Dowd. And then it's Jeff Emig, number 11, but he's got Ricky Carmichael right on his heels, and then Ezra Lusk. Lusk going to the outside, trying to get by those 2. As we take a look at our leader, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, Carmichael has come through the pack and made the pass on Lusk. Lusk couldn't find his way around Emig. Maybe Carmichael can, since Emig's his teammate. He probably knows a little bit more.
Carmichael, all a matter of timing. 2 different ways to get through there, and you saw what happened. Emig keeps his edge.
Comes out about the same, but I think the big thing there is to not follow and get caught up in somebody else's mistake. Watch Carmichael through this whoop section.
Ricky Carmichael coming up at the inside, but shutting the door was Jeff Emig, using the track well.
Oh, he shuts the door on everybody, including his teammate. He doesn't care. He's not going to give it up easy. Get a little bit of shot there, how deep the ruts are getting coming out of that finish line corner. Then they just get down this straightaway into more.
Here it is, number 11, Jeff Emig, Ricky Carmichael, number 9, and Ezra Lusk, number 4. Kind of a log jam right there.
Jeremy Albrecht putting "wanted" on the board to Jeff Emig. Don't let these guys by. If he just lifts a little bit, he's got 5 guys lined up behind him.
And still, Jeremy McGrath cannot shake here at the halfway point. Larry Ward, who is about 2 seconds in back of our leader. We're taking a look at the big battle, though, right now. That's Jeff Emig. Oh, what a shot. Almost got right into his eyeballs.
And Jeff didn't look that good through the whoops this afternoon, but he has picked it up when it counts. I'll tell you, if he was suffering through there still the way he did in practice, he'd be getting passed one at a time by all these guys each lap.
Boy, Emig and Carmichael and Lusk just having all kinds of trouble getting around him.
Well, they got 10 laps more to try to figure it out, but the problem is by the time they do,
Ward and McGrath are lapping people.
Yeah, they'll be gone. And speaking of that, as they start to approach lap traffic, you know, that usually tightens up a little bit, and Ward is close enough to take advantage.
Carmichael tried to the outside, now cuts to the inside on Jeff Emig. Ricky Carmichael, will he make it stick? No, Jeff Emig comes right back. My goodness, what a battle between Team Kawasaki teammates. Team Kawasaki has not had better than a 4th place finish this year, and that was Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael once again to the inside. Ezra Lusk is right behind Jeff Emig. Carmichael has finally accomplished the feat for a while anyway. 9 laps to go.
Carmichael appears to be the fastest rider on the racetrack right now. He's got a long ways to go. Dowd isn't that far in front of him, but Larry Ward and McGrath are pretty far gone.
Dowd with 1 podium performance this year. Number 6 is Carmichael's Gets that front wheel caught. Back in front of him now is Emig. Here comes Lusk to take advantage of RC's mistake.
This action is just unbelievable. All these guys are so close. That's what happens. One mistake. You just blink and you drop positions. That's what happened in that great battle last week. Carmichael made a couple of mistakes, so did Lusk, and they just dropped him 2 positions immediately.
Jeremy McGrath now has a 4-second lead on Larry Ward and is starting to pull away. As we take a look at Jeff Emig, let's take another look now at Ricky Carmichael's problem.
Well, he gets in there and the front brake hangs up on that tough box right there. Probably stopped him, and then he was stuck in there. He couldn't get up. As soon as he gets out of the berm, he regroups nicely. Then he dips the front wheel down into one of these whoops, loses his timing, and Lusk gets by.
Yeah, that left foot coming right off the peg.
Sometimes these berms are so close to the inside, you lay it over there, you got to lean the bike up straight, keep your body leaned in just so the levers miss. That time he hooked the front brake, I believe.
Coming into the race, Mike LaRocco, second in points behind Jeremy McGrath. Chances are he'll drop further if he can't put the zip on it right now and catch up. Ferry back on the track has now gone into the pit area once again. Look at this. Lusk and Emig. Bang, bang play. Ezra Lusk draws a reaction from this partisan crowd here in Atlanta, Georgia.
As Lusk approaches that corner, you see Dowd just exiting, so third is within his grasp.
Ezra Lusk, and the crowd senses it right now.
Emig has ridden a solid race.
I think McGrath feels that his biggest opponent as far as the points race is concerned is Ezra Lusk, because he's proven he can win, and if he stays consistent like this, staying on the podium, he can provide a real challenge for Jeremy all the way in this points race.
Well, he's going to lose points again this weekend, though, and that's what Jeremy, I mean, everyone keeps talking about how relaxed he looks. That's just confidence. He knows how to win. He's got enough patience now to know that if he just stays in the game a little bit longer, keeps his head, everyone around him is going to crumble, and that's what's been happening. They lose points here and there. They make a mistake. They end up in the last chance qualifier, whatever. Anything to disrupt their momentum, and his momentum is always right on the money.
John Dowd, he's hoping for that same kind of similar performance he had 3 weeks ago in Seattle, but can he hold off the Georgia native, Ezra Lusk, number 4, to accomplish that feat? The laps are ticking away. Jeremy McGrath now has a huge lead on Larry Ward out front. So it's McGrath, Ward, Dowd, Lusk, RC, Emig, and Pichon, the order as we switch back to our leader, Jeremy McGrath. Now, here's a guy who's looking for his 54th win, his second of the season.
Over that double jump clean, that's where a lot of guys have been slow. Nothing really slows him down. His momentum is always there. Also looking for his 6th title. I mean, you're looking at a living legend, so pay attention because you don't know how much longer he's going to be around.
Hey, look at there. Mike LaRocco gets in front of Pichon now, and his next target is Jeff Emig, number 11, Team Kawasaki. The jack-in-the-box factory connection of Mike LaRocco.
He won't put up with Emig for very long. If Emig starts to move over or starts to block a little bit, LaRocco
He's not afraid to get in there, yep. We've seen that in the outdoors as well as the indoors from Mike LaRocco. LaRocco having trouble with that lapper right now.
I was trying to get out of the way, but he just moved the wrong way. Really wrecked LaRocco's momentum at the end of the whoop section. You see Emig pulled out about 10 bike lengths now, and he's going to have to make all that back up.
LaRocco from a 14th to 7th. As we go back to our leader, Jeremy McGrath, and what more can you say about him? His best race prior to this one was at Phoenix when he got the whole shot and won his heat before that to get into the main event and went all the way to the win.
You just can never count the guy out.
And you know what might have been his greatest race of the season?
Seattle.
Anaheim.
I was thinking
where the
Seattle.
motor mounts were coming loose.
Uh-oh, Lusk is down.
Lusk is down. You see it right there, number 4. Picks it up before LaRocco and Emig, battling with each other, can pass him. But it was Ricky Carmichael who did make the pass on Lusk. And Dowd is making a move on Larry Ward for second. There you see it, number 6, Team Yamaha against the Team Suzuki of Larry Ward. Ward does not want to give it up. John Dowd with a powerful move has taken over second place.
Age? What age? The
My
tougher
goodness.
the track, the better it is for John Dowd. I talked about that in the heat race. This is the track where John would do well. Larry Ward getting a little crossed up in the ruts right there. Can't do the double. Now look at the lead that John Dowd has built. Ward's got to be careful about this pack coming up from behind.
Well, he's got Ricky Carmichael coming up from behind, too. And Ricky's only about 4 seconds behind Larry Ward as Ward is shooting for his second podium of the year. Ricky wants that podium badly.
There's Lusk. Emig, LaRocco still trying to find his way around Jeff.
So,
Michonne not letting him off the hook yet either.
well, it's a day in the park now for Jeremy McGrath. This would be the first 125-250 Yamaha sweep in the history of racing here in Atlanta.
Going back to what you said about Jeremy's best ride being at Anaheim, I have to agree that was an intelligent ride. Not take any chances, still come in, limit the damage. But I was very impressed with him going down in the first corner in Seattle and getting all the way back up to fourth, because all the other riders who went down with him had that same chance, but none of them did. The next closest rider was Emig in 7th.
Ricky Carmichael making the move on Larry Ward. Ricky quite possibly, unless there's another mistake.
What it comes down to right now, Art, is the guys that are in the best shape. The guys that do their homework during the week. The guys, oh!
Ricky Carmichael makes that mistake, and Larry Ward passes him by. Oh, my goodness, what a flat day in Atlanta for Ricky Carmichael.
They messed up his timing right there. He jumped in a little bit too hot. Back end kicked, and he's just not that tall, so he didn't have much travel between his rear end and the seat, kicking right up over the front.
Take another look, David Bailey.
Well, that just kicked him a little bit more than I thought he expected. Drove him right into the face of the next one. Larry Ward's just going, thank you.
Jeremy McGrath, number 1 with a 10-second lead on his Yamaha mate, John Dowd. Down with Team Yamaha, and of course, Jeremy McGrath with the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha.
This is one of those weird races where for Jeremy, he's going to come in, barely have broken a sweat, where all these other riders are trying so hard. It's going to be such an effort for him.
The white flag for Jeremy McGrath. It looks like he will become the first 4-time winner in the history of Supercross here in Atlanta. John Dowd crosses the finish line in 2nd. Larry Ward is now in 3rd, with Ezra Lusk in 4th. Jeff Emig in 5th, Mike LaRocco in 6th, Pashone in 7th, and Wyndham in 8th. Albertine in 9th.
You see LaRocco is pushing so hard to try to get past Emig, but Emig just will not make any mistakes or give him an inch. McGrath saluting the crowd.
Jeremy McGrath on the last lap. Here's one for you, David Bailey. Jeremy McGrath with the flashbulbs a-poppin' could become the first rider in history of Supercross to win 2 races 7 consecutive years. Jeff Ward won a Supercross 8 consecutive years, but not 2. Jeremy McGrath, win number 2 on the season. Win number 54 as we take a look at the 3rd place battle. Ward takes 3rd place over Ezra Lusk. Then it's Emig after Lusk, LaRocco, Pashone, and Wyndham beating out Albertine. A great win for the master himself, Jeremy McGrath, who is looking for his 6th title in 7 years. He once again lengthens his points lead. Gives Yamaha their 2nd win of the season, and there's Larry Ward, a disappointed Larry Ward, but his mechanic, Lee McCollum, saying, hey, partner, you battled as hard as you could fight. You made the podium. It's got to be a personal victory, too, for John Dowd. His best finish of the season in 2nd place. We'll be right back for an interesting wrap-up from Atlanta, Georgia, right after this. As the 60,000-plus move toward the exits, they leave with a sense that they've just seen a great race. They've seen a great champion win his 2nd of the year, Jeremy McGrath. John Dowd, his best finish of the year in 2nd. Larry Ward making the podium. Ezra Lusk, Jeff Emig, LaRocco, Pashone, Wyndham, Albee, all with fine performances, and probably the most disappointing factor for this crowd as they leave the stadium was that of Ricky Carmichael. But a tremendous, tremendous race here in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go down to Marty Reed with our excited winners.
Yes, the 1-900 pro race money, $1,000 to Jeremy McGrath, just as Fonseca did. The whole shot really important, but I didn't see you make any mistakes either.
Well, tonight the track was really soft out there, you know, and it's kind of one of those tracks you don't want to charge too hard, but I was really putting the pressure on myself to get that Mazda 800 Collect Chaparral No Fear Yamaha out in front, and I didn't get such a good start in the heat race. Doug from Bridgestone, we came back, we ran a little more pressure again, and when we have a lot of tacky tracks like this, it helps to run more pressure. They get a little more wheel slipping. Boy, I came right out in front.
54 career wins. You stretch the points lead. You feeling like this is control time again? We're almost to the halfway point next week.
Well, you know, I haven't felt this season so far the momentum I've had in the past. Everyone's fast this year. There's a lot of fast guys, and it's new guys every week up here on the podium. So I'm feeling really confident, and I'm rolling along, you know, getting some momentum. The bike's working really well, and I'd like to think so, but I can't count my chickens before they hatch.
Art, we'll get back to you. We'll catch up with John Dowd here.
Okay. Well, he added 10 points to his lead. He's now leading Mike LaRocco by 18 points. Ezra Lusk has moved to within 2 of Mike LaRocco in third, with Pashone in fourth.